Dane, what's up, man? How are you tonight?
Great, great. I'm extra excited tonight. We got two great people on the show tonight, and I can't wait to learn from each of them.
Tonight's a special, special night, man. So first of
Yeah,
all, I made it catch on. So we're hashtagging, it's trending. We got our friend back to help guest host, Carrie Mack. How are you, my friend, tonight?
What's up? I'm good. Looking forward to this interview.
I'm glad you're here. How was your Memorial Day and your weekend?
It was great. Just chilled, kind of relaxed. Need a little R&R every now and then.
Same. Dane, you had a tournament, right? You were calling local tournaments, right?
yeah. Called some softball games this weekend, and just had a good time. And the girls actually took home the championship. So,
Oh,
congratulations to them.
awesome. Well, your guys' weekend sound more productive than mine. I just swam all weekend and I realized that I burn very easily, even if it's cloudy outside. So Dade, again, thank you, Carrie, for giving us some of your time. We
Yeah,
just fell in love
absolutely.
with your process and your vision and your drive. Like we had to have you back. So thank you for being willing
Yeah,
to do this, Carrie. Um, the guest for tonight, I got to tell you guys. So
yeah.
I first kind of learned about her through my idol. Everybody knows Wolf is like my favorite drummer of all time. Dane's heard a million stories. He's heard them all. So when we were talking one time, we just kind of chat back and forth, and I was like, we're talking about ink and different things because I'm
Yeah.
a tattoo guy. If you guys don't know that, and I found this artist, Latisha Wood. She has a program called Ink Ministry.
Mhm.
Imagine preaching a sermon or teaching a lesson through faith through tattoos. Like, here's
Yeah.
a verse, here's a mural, here's a tattoo, and here's how I explain that and like basically put this in the vision of like what God wants you to see. My mind was blown. She's top
Yeah.
notch, like top notch artist. Would you say, Dane? I mean, yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
yeah,
I've looked through some of her catalog on Instagram and other
yeah,
platforms, and you're just blown away by what she can do and the interpretation she puts on somebody that,
yeah.
I mean, it's a work of art that you get to show to everybody that you know.
It's crazy. I mean, would you say that too, Carrie? What'd you think of her art when you first saw it? Crazy, huh?
Yeah, I love it. And being a tattoo fan, I love the fine line and the gray and the dark, and I love the
Mm.
shadow. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, so artistic. So that being said, this faith and this ministry and this top-notch artist, it goes back to what
Mhm.
you said, Carrie, as I bring her on. You told us when we were talking to you, you don't have to settle for being the best and having a message. You can do both. And
Yeah.
nobody's doing that in the ink game quite like Latisha would. So I'm going to bring her on without any further ado. Latisha from Ink Ministry, how you doing, my friend?
Hi, thank you so much. You guys are blessing my heart so much
Oh,
right now. Like
oh,
it's
it's
just so cool. Thank you
we
so much.
Yeah.
thank you,
Thank you for your
Latisha.
time.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
what you're doing for the world. It's your ministry is
yeah.
very unique. Let's say that, let's say the least. So, Dane, Carey, and I have some questions, Letitia. We're gonna jump right into it because we want to kind of hear your
Okay.
story and go into some directions.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go first. So we've all done this. Anybody that's ever tattooed, my boys and I, my buddies and I, that first tattoo we did ourselves. Our first, oh my goodness, that tattoo, you kind of regret it. You wish you wouldn't have done it. The no regret type stuff. You know where I'm going, right? So,
Oh yeah.
so tell
If you
me,
don't have one, if you don't have one of those, you didn't do it right.
right,
If you
right.
don't have one that you regret, you didn't do it
Right.
right.
So I'm curious, what's your first one? Maybe like when you began doing this, maybe it's local fame, maybe it even wasn't like commercial. What's that first tattoo that you did in your path, or if you can remember?
Mm.
My first tattoo, well, it's kind of funny because like there's like I have like three firsts. I have the first time that I actually touched skin with the machine was I got my stuff in the mail, and I was very eager as a young student, and I tattooed myself, and
Okay.
yeah, so that was my first touch to the skin. And then my teacher, who Franco,
Yeah.
he was actually at the time he was across the country. He told me, "Don't do that.
Okay.
Stop it. Stop it right now." And I says, "Oh, okay, all right." Well, you're so young and you're excited. So first time was I actually did a little tiny thing on myself, and then a second time it was kind of like me and my brother. My brother's a mechanic, and I was playing with the machines and I was like trying to figure him out and stuff. And he's a mechanic, so he was like, "Oh," he jumped over and he was like, he grabbed out my hand. And he's like, "Hey, Richie, come here." So me and him of tattooing his buddy Richie. It was like my brother was like, it was like the worst lines
Let's
you could
go.
ever see. So like we did it together. But then my officially first tattoo was here in California. I had done a really cool skull, like smoking a cigar. He had like a bandana, and that
Nice.
was like my heart was beating out of my chest because the whole room was full of all the guys in the shop, and they're all like just so excited to see you to do your first like
That's
official
awesome.
tattoo. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I kind
Wow.
of have three firsts. Yeah.
Well, yours
Yeah.
is definitely a lot
That's
better
awesome.
than my first. Mine was a poker chip that looked like a ice cube or something. So you did a good
Oh,
job. That's
oh,
awesome.
okay. You meant your
Yeah.
first tattoo
No,
first
you're
tattoo
good.
that I got? Oh,
No,
okay.
you're good. No, I'm with you. So I appreciate
Yeah.
you kind of sharing that. That's a cool story. Go ahead, Dan.
Now, from those early days when you just started cutting your teeth and learning the process of,
Yeah.
becoming and creating art on people's skin, from that point to now, is there maybe one or two things that have been your favorite, whether it be a certain tattoo that you did that meant a lot to you, or
Mm.
maybe even
Yeah.
maybe even like a customer or client that you just had a great session with, regardless of what the tattoo
Mm.
was, is that you could maybe
Yeah.
talk about?
Oh yeah. Like I have so many favorites. It's
Mhm.
absolutely crazy. It's like every day is my favorite. And I know that sounds so corny, but it really is. It's just so amazing. Like I mean, I would say that the ones that really touch my heart the most are the people that really, really get it, and
Mhm.
they're open and understanding to the transformation and the process of
Mm.
of giving the artist their ideas, and then going through the process of not being so fixed on one idea, but like allowing the artist to really like dive deeper. I love to like dive deeper into the person to like
Mhm.
pull out like what it is, what is it really that you want, Because
Mm.
sometimes people they have an idea, but and that idea is somewhere underneath and it's coming out here. So but it's like I want to get down further
Yeah.
into why do you want this? Because when I get down in there, then I can really like kind of explore and show more. But I do have one guy in particular that I've been working with. He's amazing. And his name is Steve, and he's a mechanic also. But
Okay.
he has gotten lots of work, lots of biblical work. But his thing is that his life is all about God and his family. And
Hmm.
he tells me every time I come, every time we sit down together, he tells me, "You have no idea, Latisha." He goes, "Every morning I wake up and I look at these tattoos and they remind me why I'm here and what
Yeah.
I'm doing this for." And it's just amazing because he really gets it. Like we sit together, we talk about life together, we pray together.
Yeah.
Before I even started tattooing, he came into my room and he was like, "This is who I am. This is what I'm going through." And I knew immediately, oh my gosh, let's pray.
Yeah.
We need to pray. And I think for him and for a lot of people that come, they don't, who's praying for them,
Mhm.
and
Mm.
I feel
Wow.
like God's given me that heart to be I'll pray with people like out loud. I'll pray with people
Hmm.
just in the quiet of my heart, and God is so good that he gives me a lot of discernment and
Mhm.
to hear things that aren't said, like what I'm saying, like to
Yeah.
be able to
Yeah.
just to have those ears to like understand like what a person is needing, and this is really cool. But he's got some beautiful work. He's got a beautiful back piece that I did of it's his son, and he's on a horse, and his daughter is behind, and she's a beautiful angel. And it's just amazing because I know that he gets it, and because he gets it, he gets the fullness of the experience, you know what I mean? So like
Oh yeah.
he's able to be vulnerable, he's able to tell me like what's going on in his life, and then he's also open to what it is that happened, and he's
Mhm.
not like too
Wow.
fixed in things. Yeah.
I'm
So and he
just
trusts me.
Wow.
So
I mean, this is, you see what I'm saying, right, Dan and Carrie? Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
Yeah.
it's a ministry. It's literally a ministry through ink,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, let's
yeah.
pray. Like, I mean, I got some cool tattoo friends. That's a good idea. Hey, man, next time before you work on me, let's pray first, man. Yeah, I get that. That's
Yeah,
cool, man. It's a really cool idea,
right.
man. Just wow,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love that.
to pray with them, and it's just amazing because people, like, honestly, I feel like the prayer is even more powerful than the
It is
tattoo. Because that,
absolutely, yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
obviously it is, but like,
That's
you know what I
cool,
mean? I feel
man.
like at when they go home and they have their new tattoo and they're laying in bed and they're going to sleep, I guarantee you that most of the time they're just thinking about, wow, that was so cool. I got to pray today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
Yeah.
this is why Dane and I we saw you, and that's why Carrie quickly fell in love with what you're doing too, right? So
Yeah.
Carrie, help me out here. This kind of falls into your section, Carrie. Your questions. Isn't this spot on what you're talking about, Carrie? As well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, I'd like to ask you pretty much, I know at such a young age you got inspired, but like what officially made you really get inspired to want to really pursue tattooing and
Mhm.
being,
oh,
yeah,
to just pursue tattooing.
yeah, like
Um,
inspired when you were young, but what like actually inspired you to like want to do this like for a living?
Yeah.
it's really cool, and I look back at it, and now I understand that it really was a calling. So after I had finished school, I got to go to school for about 4 years. I have my bachelor's in fine art, and I majored in illustration, and I want to do children's books. That's one of my big dreams. I started actually painting motorcycles after after I graduated college. I saw these
Wow.
guys on television, and they're making custom motorcycles, and I find out that these guys are about 45 minutes from where I live. So I go over there, show them my portfolio. Never painted on a motorcycle in my entire life. I says, I want to paint motorcycles. You guys need any help? And they did. Within 2 days, I was painting motorcycles, for like 5 years. But
Wow.
in the process of painting a motorcycle, so here I am, a young 20s. I was exposed to all these people that are covered in tattoos. All these just radical, amazing, just big biker guys that come over and they look at my portfolio and they're like, "You did this?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I did this." They're like, "You did all of this?" I said, "Yeah, I do all this." And they said, "Well, do you tattoo?" And I says, "No, I don't tattoo." They're like, "You need to learn how to tattoo." So it was like several people telling me I need to learn how to tattoo. And then I got hired to do a bike for an amazing guy. He gave me his 100th year anniversary Harley Davidson. He was fully tattooed, beautiful work. And he says, "This is all of my tattoos. Here's my motorcycle. I love your work. I trust you. I am down for whatever you want to do." Guy lets me tattoo, and I'm telling you, there's like when you have certain people that shift the trajectory in your life, and this bike was one of them. I did this bike for him, painted the whole bike. A friend of mine, she says, "Latisha, what do you think about we get this motorcycle on Miami Ink, and we deliver the motorcycle down to
Wow.
Florida to your customer. He gets tattooed by he gets one of your designs from the bike tattooed on his body from one of the artists in Miami." I was like, "Sure, yeah, if
Yeah.
you can make that happen, that'd be great."
Wow.
And she
Wow.
did. She makes it happen. I go down to Miami. We did the whole thing with the television show, and it was amazing. And I'm standing there on the beach, and this is before I knew the Lord, and I'm standing there on the beach, and I'm like, I feel like I am being called into the industry. I really like the calling was really something on me, because to me, I was like, I could I could still do my motorcycles, and I could learn how to tattoo, and these industries merge. So like, this shouldn't be that difficult. But the wild thing is that when I did go out seeking and searching for a teacher, because I learned art well through teachers. I found Franco here in California, Franco Vescovi, who I still work with.
Yeah.
And
Legend.
he knew some of my work from the motorcycles and stuff like that. But it was just amazing that I feel like now, because I've actually been a Christian longer than not a Christian tattooing
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
career. So this is really cool, because I do remember standing on that beach and just being like, what am I supposed to do with this? This is pretty profound, like, I
Yeah.
can tattoo. Like, I know I have the ability to do it, but how do I get there? And now that I can sit back and I can look and I can see how God has been able to, now he's really moving in the work that I do. I could see why. And it was really cool that the industry itself is, and this is one of my biggest prayers, is that for the tattoo industry to come to faith, right? We
Yeah.
have a lot of people that the industry's wild, right? But it's really amazing because I feel like this is the year that I see God not only moving in my work, but I see him moving in my colleagues. I see God moving in the industry. I see people being more open about their faith. I see people, talking about Jesus and God and sharing, so to me, that's just like the most amazing thing is you see God plant seeds way back years away. And then here we are, and he's still, doing great work. So
I'm just so, as Carrie and Dane and I, I'm making notes. I'm just like, yep, making notes. Yep. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Listening to you. Carrie, I mean, that's spot on what you're talking about. You're talking about just finding that calling. You just said this, Carrie. It's crazy. Two ladies
Yeah.
of faith in different genres. Weren't you just saying that, Carrie, a few days ago?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is amazing. God calls us out, before we even knew him. He was pulling us and planning us and
I love
aligning
it.
us. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think you got one more for it too, Carrie, right? Like a follow up on that too. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do. And I think just also wanted to say, just like, I respect the challenge of, like, to put something permanently on someone is so challenging and intimidating. So you must have some serious God confidence, right?
I hear that a lot. People say that. They're like, how do you like do that every day? You I feel like a lot of young artists, they're nervous to start tattooing because they're afraid to like mess up on someone.
Yeah.
And that's a good fear, but I feel like I always tell young artists, like, practice a lot on paper. Practice, get so good on paper, on canvas, like just get it all of your wiggles out so that by the time you get to a person's skin, you have no questions. You already know exactly, already planned and prepared for it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan, can I practice on you? I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Carrie. Go ahead, Carrie. The next question.
So I wanted to ask basically, like, where you get your inspiration from, or what or who influences you, like that kind of thing. Obviously, the person you're dealing with and getting ready to tattoo, and then where, like, personally, do you like see your eye drawn to, like, things of other artists that you've liked or something like?
Yeah. I feel like as a young, like as a student, you have so many of those influences because you're really like learning a lot from these great masters, any of like the Rembrandt and Michelangelo, Caravaggio, like all these amazing, incredible painters that are just absolutely fabulous. And then you start, I feel like for me, my influences grow and change. And I've like within the tattoo industry, Franco was and has always been such a big influence to me, Franco Vescovi. And just the people that I work with, and a lot of it's not just like their work itself, but it's like the person, so I'm really drawn more to not only the work, but like the person as well.
Love it. Love that.
My clients are a really big influence on me because I'm working with them and I'm pulling things out of them. So they're definitely a big influence on me. I don't know, like
That's
feel
good.
like
Molding the mold, like you're molding something. Yeah, I love that. The parallel.
And I feel like the biggest thing is being able to just be creative within yourself, just, and I'm very like illustrative, so I like to tell like stories in my work. And so I feel like inspirations, and it is wild, and I don't want to sound too like spiritual, but it is divine. I feel like
Yeah.
creativity really, especially now that I'm more rooted in my faith, I feel like creativity is divine, because I'll have
Yeah.
moments where I'm just like sitting there, and I have a piece I did as a Jesus walking on water, and I was sitting there and I was gonna do this whole other piece, and then I just had this inspirational thought, why don't I'd love to do a piece of Jesus just walking on water, and I just
That's
banged it
awesome.
out. And I call it more like a prophetic kind of
Yeah.
artistry, where you're just being more spontaneous, and you're just like letting something happen, and you don't quite know what it is, you know?
Yeah, you're
Um,
preaching. It's like you're preaching on canvas. I mean, that's what you're doing.
yeah,
And like we were talking about this, and think of you said this, Dan and Carrie also. When God made the earth, that's pretty creative. It's a pretty creative thing, making this
yeah,
world and all that. So inspiration is divine. You're
Yeah.
right. But the
yeah,
stories you're telling, it's like you're creating a story, a message. It's almost like if someone was
yeah,
doing a sermon, on paper, or even artists like obviously Carrie and Toby does the music thing. When you're doing
yeah,
a music when
Yeah.
you're doing a piece of like a sermon, you're just doing it through ink. Like it's a whole nother way of
yeah,
expressing, exhorting.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
I do have some really fun ones where I'll be, like when you're at church and we're all worshiping and we're singing and we're praising God. God gives me some really cool little nuggets that I'm just like,
That's
oh,
cool.
I get little visions, and
That's
you
cool.
know, this is kind of fun, It's
I
really
love it,
cool.
man. It's like
Oh, yeah.
Carrie, Dane, and I and Latisha talking like all this. It's deep. Like I'm learning stuff and all that. So
Yeah.
now I'm gonna feel like a clown, but I got to transition to a funny segment for a minute. So,
Oh,
um,
it's good.
so poor Carrie, you're familiar with this already, Carrie. So you know what's coming. We're about to do rapid fire. So here in a second, what we're gonna do, and I made it a point tonight for everybody's reaction. I didn't give Dane the question set. I didn't give Carrie these, and I didn't give me Latisha. But that's how this is gonna work. Explain. We've got 5 just crazy rando questions. These are PG. We always do. But these questions, we're gonna say a question, and then Dane, Carrie, and I will bet on that moment on what we think you're gonna say. We're gonna like pick it in our minds, and you pick one or the other. There's no wrong answer. So you go with what you feel is right. And it's like a little game show, a little mini game show. Whatever you
Okay.
pick, we're gonna bet on what we think you're gonna say, kind of like a Family Feud. You pick what you
Okay.
want, no wrong answer, and whichever one of us gets the closest picks, we're the winner. And we usually get like lunch or something provided by the losers that we try to do. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
cool. So Dane, Carrie, you guys got your game faces on. You ready for the segment? You ready?
Game on.
Yep.
Ready, Dane?
Here we go. Yeah. Here we go.
So imagine time is not a thing here. In this little segment, you can go back in time or in the future. These questions are fun. We're about to get real weird. Okay, so here we go. Ready? So you get called up along with what you're doing. The Miami thing just took off, and really your ministry is expanding. And for whatever reason, these 2 celebrities are like walking the Miami Strip and say, "Yo, Latisha, I want to play you right now for like a Rolex for paper, rock, scissors on the spot." 2 celebrities just approach you on the spot. If you beat me, you get a Rolex. Okay, cool. Your choices, love both of these ladies, are awesome. You got to grind it out right there. Paper, rock, scissors against A, Courtney Love. Huge fan of Courtney Love and her work. Or you got to paper, rock, scissors it out against Dave Grohl. Courtney Love, Dave Grohl on the spot. Who we paper, rock, scissoring? Go.
I'll go with Courtney Love.
Okay, I had Dave Grohl. Dane, what'd you have on that?
Oh, Dave Grohl as well.
I had Courtney.
Oh, sorry.
Carrie, what'd you have on that?
Courtney.
Okay, thank you. So
That's
you're taking the
Yeah.
good one, right? So Carrie, you're up by 1. So you're in the lead right now. So something's going on here. Did you guys text each other? Okay, here we go. Something's going on here. Okay. So check this out. For a day, for whatever reason, you're required, like for a charity event, you're required to not speak for 24 hours. And they're like, yo, you can't speak for 24 hours. The only way you can communicate for 24 hours is using one of these 2 objects to speak everything out that you do. No words, have to communicate with 2 of these instruments. Option A, you can do everything through an Etch-a-Sketch, or B, you can do everything through a light bright. Etch-a-Sketch, light bright, which one are you going with?
Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, I had light bright. Carrie, what'd you have on that?
Etch-a-Sketch.
Dane, what'd you have on that?
No, I had Light Bright.
Whatever.
I loved that when I was
believe
a
you.
kid. When I was a
Love
kid,
it.
I used to love that thing.
For all you kids,
Oh, man.
for all you kids, that's not something you can find on TikTok. That's something from the 80s, kids.
Yeah.
So,
You had to put in some work on it. You had to put in some work to create something.
Google it. You'll know what it is. Cool. So
That
Dane,
sketch is so fun. I
I
love that sketch.
yeah, you gotta tell a story with it. So Dane and Carrie's tied. I'm striking out right now. So next question.
Oh,
Yeah.
Carrie's up 2-0 on us.
Oh, that's right. My bad, Carrie. My bad. I was trying to cheat. My bad. I was trying to cheat. So next question. There's 2 albums. Okay, somebody comes in and says, "Yo, I want to cover my whole back and lyrics from this album, like album lyrics, right? So the whole album." I say, just tattoo me. You decide. The guy walks in or girl walks in and says, "Hey, put one of these 2 on my back. You decide." Your choices. You can do Backstreet Boys debut album, lyric, all that on the back. Or, now this is crazy. This is a hard one. It really is. So the Backstreet Boys, or you can drop the lyrics to the Beatles Abbey Road album on the back.
Oh.
Now hear me out, because they're both great, like 90s bangers, Backstreet Boys or Beatles. Which one are you going with?
Beatles for sure. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I'm striking out. Would you have Dane?
I had Abbey Road. Absolutely.
Carrie? Did you have Beatles, Carrie?
100%.
I'm just like over here just singing it in my head. Back streets, back. All right. Like I'm right now getting it, you know? I'm 0 for 3. Good job, Carrie. So far leading. So two more. Okay. So they're gonna do, this is an interesting one. So kind of taking your art promo stuff. They want you to step in. We just had this a couple days ago with one of these awesome comic book ladies. They want you to do some teaser trailers, comic book art for one of these 2 upcoming movies. We're going to say there's a 2025 reboot, both of these movies. You got to pick which one you want to do the art for. The upcoming X-Men 97 season 2, X-Men 97. They just rebooted it on Disney. It's really cool. So you can do that for season 2, X-Men, or you can make some art for the next Justice League sequel. X-Men, Justice League. Which one are you going with?
X-Men.
Oh my goodness. What is wrong with me tonight?
No,
Latisha. Oh my gosh. Carrie, would you have X-Men? It's all good.
Justice League.
Okay. You're human. At least you're human, Carrie. Okay. I got one wrong.
Honestly, I don't know what the Justice League is. I feel like I should know.
So this concludes the interview. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
I spent a lot of time in this room.
No, I'm totally playing. It's like Batman and Wonder Woman get together with like Superman. It's like it's their crew. What it is.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's awesome. Dane, what'd you have on that one?
The Justice League.
Okay, so now
there's so many ways you can go with it, with the contrast of Superman, light and
I'm probably
airy, and
gonna
then
regret-
Batman, dark.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna regret that decision, but that's okay.
Oh.
All my you know who's gonna razz me the most is probably Wolf.
Yep.
Wolf's gonna be like, why would you pick X-Men over Justice League?
I'm just saying, Batman is my favorite all-time superhero, so I'm a little hurt, but I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
Practicing forgiveness. I'm totally playing. So last one.
I was just thinking Wolverine, you know.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh,
yeah.
There you go.
No wrong answer. You gotta go. You gotta do you. So last one. There's one more. So check this out.
Okay.
You're good. I've seen this. I don't know, Carrie, you're familiar with this, especially with winter jams and tours and things like that. Hits Deep tours and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they want you to, Latisha, they want you to take your ministry and be one of the guest speakers on an upcoming winter jam or Hits Deep festival, where it's like a lot of artists come out and you take a segment and you get to speak. Okay, like you get to be a part of it, and you get to decide if you want to come out right before one of these 2 artists. Like you do your kind of give your ministry testimony before one of these 2 artists. Okay, you can come out right before Switchfoot. Love them, love that band, always have. Love them. Or you can come out right before for King and Country. Switchfoot, King and Country. Which one are you going with?
Do I have to pick? That's kind of tough. Oh man, I don't know. King of Country is pretty dope.
They're both good.
Yeah, I'll probably go King of Country. But
I got one right.
Good too. Oh yeah, King of Country.
Finally
They're
got
good.
one right. Yeah, they're so
They're all
good.
good.
Dane,
Yeah.
You just put me in the middle, you know.
yeah, like one. Yeah, right between.
Okay.
Dane, what'd you have on that one, Dane?
Yeah, the King Country.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of the boys.
Carrie, what'd you have on that one, Carrie?
King and Country.
There
You
we
say?
go. Everybody.
King and country.
Okay. Well, Carrie, thank you for whooping Dane and I tonight.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
rapid
Wiping the
fire.
floor
Appreciate
with wiping the floor with us tonight.
I
Yeah,
love it. Well,
make sure you
love
guys
it.
take it somewhere nice, you know.
Carrie, I'm gonna mail you in Tennessee. I'm gonna send you like some DoorDash stuff. All right. I'm gonna call it good. Okay. Cool. so for this final segment, Latisha, what this is about, I'm gonna give it back to Dane for the final segment, if you will.
Well, I was just wanting to, before we get into that, I would just want to know, usually whenever I talk to people that do tattoos, I have some brothers and obviously my nephew Josh, there's a lot of, it seems like there's a lot of therapy that goes into that kind of commitment to put something on your body like that, somebody's art.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stories where people, have come through hardships and then they want to commemorate that.
Yeah.
Now, along those themes, has this life of tattooing and finding God and interpreting God through your work, has that brought you through any hardships in your life that you would care to share with us?
Yeah, for sure. You mean like a tattoo that maybe I've received that has
or just maybe has this lifestyle turned your life around, bringing you to God?
Testimony, yeah.
Like a testimony on that.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Dude, yeah. The world will swallow you up if you don't have the Lord with you, and that's certainly what it did. And I mean, anytime you work in any industry and you're kind of, especially in an industry where I'm a female in a male dominated industry, there's just so many challenges that you go through, and those challenges really drew me close to the Lord, because you start to weed out what's important and what am I here for and what am I doing this for? Why have I moved all the way across the country to pursue this career? What is this all about? Is it to get a nice house, to get a good car? Is it to in the end, what is it all for? That's where I mean, I could probably tell you guys my testimony in a full hour as to how in depth it was, how much God was really chasing after me, but also protecting me. And I would say that this industry, and not even just this industry, but the life in general, it will really test you and challenge you and put you up against the wall, where you really have to figure out, what is this all about? What's my purpose for my life and all of that. And that's what ultimately ended up bringing me to the Lord and bringing me to prayer and really needing to know what happens to me after I die. What happens? What am I doing this for? Like, we need purpose, we need, I have passion, but I need purpose, right? Like, passion in life will only kind of get you so far, but I need purpose. And I think that's what ultimately ended up bringing me to the Lord. But yeah, the tattoos are absolutely transformative. I've worked with people where it's kind of crazy, because because God makes you aware of what you're doing. And I know I'm kind of stumbling over it, but
no, you're good. You're good.
It's just, if I could put into words how amazing it is to work with somebody because I work with people like a span of 6 months to 4 or 5 years, so I get to know. Yeah, I get to know these people really, like, in depth. They're my friends, these are the people that probably they'll be filling my funeral, when I do pass away. All of these hundreds and hundreds of people that I get to spend a fragment of their life with, it's just really, it's really phenomenal, what God can do, with somebody that's just willing and able, to give their abilities over, it is sacrificial, because a lot of artists, you can do whatever you want. I'm my own boss. I can draw and do whatever I like. And a lot of times, you are sacrificial in a way that you're like, I don't really do tiny tattoos anymore. I don't really got time for all that. But that's not up to me to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I meet wonderful people that they just want a little tiny token that reminds them to have hope, that give
Wow.
Mhm.
a little something, you know what I mean? And
Oh,
what
yeah.
does it take? What does it take out of my day? It takes a fraction of a moment, but those people, when they look at that tiny tattoo and they're in a hard space in their life, but they need to remember that they have hope, and just having it permanently written on their body is something that it reminds them, to not give up.
Yeah.
For me, in my
Wow.
experience of tattooing, I have a tattoo of my dad here on my
Oh,
arm.
wow. It's beautiful.
Oh
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. And my dad, he's amazing. He was an artist, and he passed away when I was just a baby, and he was killed by a drunk driver, and it was a very much of a hard thorn in my flesh for the very, very longest time. It was a very hard thing for me to even talk about. And my teacher Franco, he could tell. See, because he was already well wisdom in his tattoo career. He could tell, oh, she's having a hard time with the loss of her dad. Even though I
Yeah.
never knew my dad, I had a hard time with losing what I never got the chance to have. You know what I mean? I felt robbed. So there was a part of me that felt robbed. I couldn't talk about it. And he says, I think you need to do this. You need to get a portrait of your dad on here. It's going to inspire you. It's going to encourage you through
Wow.
your life.
Wow.
And it's amazing because I remember getting this tattoo, and I remember walking down after getting the tattoo, and I remember people would stop me and go, "Oh, hey, what's this?" Oh, and I'm like, "That's my dad." And they're like, "Oh, you look like your dad." And here I am. I'm like, I've never heard those ears. I've never heard that.
Uh-huh.
I've never heard this. So I'm like, oh wow. So all of a sudden it started to become easier and easier for me to talk about my dad's death, and like who he was, and all these amazing things. And it was amazing because it was like I, here he was, alive by life, even though he's not
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
physically here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing because it was a transformative thing that happened in my heart. So it was an opportunity and a time for me to heal those wounds, and also celebrate his life, and just commemorate
Gosh.
him in a wonderful way.
Yeah.
And it's great because and then I tell this story to people who are sitting in my chair, and they've lost their baby, and
Oh,
they
good.
are putting a tattoo on their body. And I have to, in that deepest, darkest, hardest part of their life, the hardest day of their life, I tell them the story of how just
Wow.
having that little token there, that reminder of of him and who he was. It's just a really cool thing, and it does something inside the heart. Not only the person who gets a tattoo, but the people that see it, so it's
Uh-huh.
like it's really cool, that experience. And I remember a lot of times back in the day when I was really struggling, I was on my own, and just collapsed on the ground crying for whatever reason I was upset about, and just opening my eyes and seeing his face and going, what am I doing? I'm alive. I'm here. I have today. God's given me today.
Yeah.
My I need to get up. My dad would want me to go and live my life and be happy. He would not want me to spend one day on the floor crying. He would want
Gosh.
me to go and enjoy my life. So these are the amazing things that happen beneath. And that's, to me, that's what ink ministry is. It's like what happens underneath the surface of the skin, of the tattoo.
I'm like,
Wow. Wow.
I'm not lying. I'm trying not to tear up. I don't know about you, Dan and Carrie, but I'm a little crying over here a little bit. Oh, Latisha,
Yeah.
that's so powerful because
Yeah.
you're talking about representing hope in a physical way. Like, hey, when you talked about like, thank you for sharing that story with your dad. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And how you can
Yeah.
relate and how you can help somebody minister to somebody. I mean, Carrie, what do you think? I mean, powerful, right? What do you say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's powerful. I lost my sister 3 years ago, and
Yeah.
we all got K tattoos. Their name's Kristen on
Oh yeah.
our arm, and
Yeah.
yes, all the girls in the family. So yeah, it's just like that constant little reminder. I'm tearing up. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's so special. It's such a
Yeah.
special thing. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, Latisha, and this is why we love you. Thank you, Carrie and Dan and
Yeah.
I. We talked about what
Yeah.
you're doing. You're doing
You.
something that is literally, it's a permanent, literally, not
Yeah.
just you're leaving an impression on someone that they'll never forget.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I
It's
hope
such
that,
a blessing.
I
Yeah.
hope the
I
world
say really quick.
replicates you. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
I
say
hope
that
so.
I love that there was something I read on, I think it was maybe your website or your bio or Instagram, but it was like because when I first got my tattoo, I was at a Christian college, and everyone's like, "What? You got it was so taboo back then," and I'm
Yeah.
like, so for years I was like, I'm harming my body because the Bible said, don't do this. So, but you on your, I don't know if it was your bio or something I read, you were like, we display it on our walls, we display it on our bodies. And I loved
Yeah.
that. I thought that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's hope.
Yeah.
And then like, it made me feel like all those people that bad shamed me then. I was like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bible tells us to glorify God in everything.
Yeah.
Glorify God in everything. So
Yeah.
there
Um,
as long as your art is beautiful, pure, and it has good intentions, and that's a big thing for me, is that I am very mindful of what I put on people. And I do my best to try and educate people, because people sometimes they just don't know. They don't
Yeah.
know, and I'm like, you don't want to put that on your body, because and I certainly am not going to want to do that for you. So it is a really amazing thing just to be able
Wow.
to help people in that journey of deciding what to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Latisha, I am so grateful. I promise you,
Yeah.
we if we didn't have to, time permitting with Carrie in our schedule and interviews after this, I would talk to you for hours. I see now why
Oh yeah.
people love talking to you. It's so incredible. We have to say
Yeah.
this in closing, because it's just wow, what a mark you literally left on my heart. I know I don't want to speak for Danny and Carrie, but I'm sure the same. We have to make sure this is not the first or the last time that you're on the show. This has got to be a repeat
Yeah.
thing, because
Yeah.
as you more stories, more ministry stuff. We have to make sure this is something we do on a regular basis, because it has been a true
Absolutely.
pleasure
Yeah,
coming
I would
on.
love to. Yeah, I'd love to. You guys make it so easy, and obviously, I'd love to talk with you guys more. It is such a blast. I'd love to tattoo each and every one of you.
Let's go.
That would be cool.
Let's
If only
go.
I can tattoo through the screen,
Hey, so Dane, Carrie road trip. Let's go. We'll be there in 2 days. I'm just kidding. No,
Yes.
yeah, I got a whole piece, man.
Are you guys in Tennessee?
You're in Tennessee, Carrie. Me and Dane are in Kansas, so we're
you're in
Midwest and South.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I do visit Tennessee often. I have family out there. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, nice. I might have to consider a first tattoo for me.
Yeah,
Yes,
Dane.
you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
You do.
You're not gonna let me do it, Dane? Get the no regrets across your forehead. I got you, Dane.
Yeah.
But
So
right on the neck here.
yeah, there you go.
You just think about what you would do, and God will put it on your heart. And
I
that's
love
what
that.
that's what I tell a lot of people. It's fun to explore your visions and your ideas, and then that greatest one, it always rises up to the top. And then
Man.
this is the one. Yeah.
Wow. Latisha, thank you. I mean this from my heart. It's been a true blessing. You are inspiring, and this will not be the last time. I make sure of that. We'll stay in touch. After we get this out, Dane, Carrie, and I will group message. We'll get this out, and let's make this a recurring thing. And please, thank you on behalf of your ministry. Keep spreading the good news, and let's do this again soon. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Wow, Dane. Carrie, Dane, talk to me, man. What do you think? Isn't she awesome? That's a great lady.
Yeah. I mean, every time I think about an artist doing anything, and especially in the realm of tattoos, I mean, I can't help but think how humbling it must be for somebody to ask you to put something on their body and trust you enough to do it, and then them go and show in the world what you've done. I mean, it's a humbling thing, I would think, as an artist, no matter your skill level.
Wow.
And no matter how many times you've done it.
Man, that's just she met. I don't know, Carrie. Let me hear your thoughts. What do you think of her? Was she awesome or what? You know?
Yeah, she was great. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought that just the message of hope is so important right now in
Yeah.
our and just the fact that you can look down at your arm and skin or your whatever your leg that she's tattooed, and you look back and you think like there was a message there was hope. She prayed with me, she put
Mm.
time into it, she helped me with it, and she's got the hand of God on her, gracing her with
Wow.
that diligent, like perfect artistry.
That's crazy, man. That was I mean, I gotta say that was a blessing to have that on tonight. And the way she just goes about her client, it's almost like she's approached them like it's members of her church, like, hey, I was
Yeah.
working with this person, I'm doing this amazing tattoo, like this work of art, it could go in the Sistine Chapel, that's cool and all. But like she's talking about more, she's having the story with them, and like she
Yeah.
cares for her people. It's not even about the art, but she's great at it. It's about helping people. Dane, we've said this a million times. It's not even about the craft, it's about what they care about, right, Dane?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, connecting with people,
Yeah.
through whatever message you have. If it's positivity, then that's what's going to come through in your artwork. And you hopefully you make a connection with each client, each teammate, each person that you meet. And she's making a huge impact, not only with the people
Wow.
that she tattoos, but beyond that, even with her socials and things like that, where her message is definitely getting out. And that's how we caught on to it. And I'm glad we did.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I will say this because we could talk for hours on that one. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
give a special thanks to the Ink Ministry and Latisha Wood. Carrie, thank you again, my friend. We're becoming old best friends now.
Yeah.
So we've got many more for us. So we'll have you around the way soon. But we'll say this, guys, because we got a few more to get to tonight. On behalf of Carrie, Mac, Dane, and Josh, so don't forget, as always, that we love you. And Dane.
All right.
Thank you for listening.